Welcome to Mentally Challenged and Bored as Fuck. I'm mentally challenged and bored as fuck, and I'm also a 32-year-old man with high functioning autism. I also have another YouTube channel you can go and check out. I'll be sure to put a link to it in the description. If not, I'll add it as an end screen nomination towards the end of this video, where you can go and check it out from there. Either way, hope you're all having a great day. This is a video where I talk about random stuff and talk about whatever I feel like. And since it's Christmas and there's a lot of religious focus on Christianity, I want to talk about like why I don't believe in the Bible for the most part. For one, Jesus, about him being the real Messiah, I don't believe that. I believe that's fake, and I'll explain why. I believe he was a real person, but I don't think he was who he said he was. I don't think there is no Christ. There is no hell. Well, at least not in the sense that, at least not in the general sense that most Christians believe in hell to be. And heaven, well, I believe in reincarnation. Look at the death ratio, look at the birth ratio. Those numbers skyrocket. When you look at how many people are born per minute or per second in comparison to how many people die every minute or every second, then it starts to make sense that, oh, maybe reincarnation is real because every so seconds or every so many minutes people die, and then people are reborn every so many seconds and every so many minutes. But not really so many. The numbers are actually quite small. And I read one time that every 5 minutes, approximately, a person is born. Like every minute, a person dies. Um, but things are constantly being. That's just people. That's just people we're talking about. There's other living creatures like bugs and insects and worms. There's thousands of maggots. Every little living creature. There are so many. If we're not counting the people, I'm not just talking about the people. I'm talking about every single living creature on this planet. There's trillions. The numbers are almost infinity. They're like beyond trillion. There's so many living creatures now you can't even fit. You literally couldn't fit the numbers into a calculator. If you count all the humans and all the living creatures on this planet, including ourselves, those numbers will not fit on a calculator. You would have to have one big, massive calculator. Like, oh my god. I'm not joking. Like, oh my god, in the sense that, well, even though I told you I'm not an atheist. And I was raised by a family who is Catholic, but I was a Catholic as a kid, up to a teenager, and as I became older, I started to kind of, be able to make my own decisions for the most part, and therefore I ended up beginning to realize that, well, things are not always what they seem. And that I've been living under this Christian rule, what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do. I don't believe in that anymore. I believe in reincarnation. There's certain things on my wall that will symbolize that. I have a sign that says happiness in life, but there's one that says faith. Well, I left that one back at the other house. I believe hell is a place on earth, and so is heaven. There's no place you go for eternity. When you do something bad in one life, you'll it'll be made up for. You'll compensate for it by suffering for it in the next life. And then once you're done with it, once that suffering's over, then you've done your time, you paid the price. It's like a temporary prison, you know? You serve your time for the crime, and then once you do that time, you're good to go. That's how I look at reincarnation. It's like you do something bad in one life, you're gonna suffer for it in the next life. And then when that next life's over and you suffered for it, and if you didn't do any more further bad things, which most likely you will, but not if you didn't do as much, then you won't suffer as much. Like if let's say I murdered a few people in this life, which by the way I never murdered anybody. Okay, well let's pretend I murdered a few people. I never went to jail, I never got caught. But then I die. In the next life, I'm going to suffer for that. I'm going to become a worm or a maggot or a primitive creature and get devoured and eaten by other creatures and suffer that fate. And then, because I didn't do, if I didn't do anything horrible in that next life, then I suffered for my crime, and now the next life after that won't be as bad. And then I start back from scratch. And then from there, it's up to me to live my life pure. Because as long as I continue to do bad things, the cycle will keep the next life will keep getting worse and more sufferable. Yes, sufferable, if that's even a word. I'll suffer even more. So, the need for hell to exist already exists through life itself. So if you did something bad in this life, don't worry, you'll pay for it. You'll pay for it in the next life. I can guarantee you that. So if you raped someone or murdered someone, don't worry, because in the next life, you're going to be a rape victim. You're going to suffer some kind of pain to compensate for what pain you conflicted upon that person, or whatever you did wrong in this life. In the next life, you're gonna suffer for it. But don't worry, it's only temporary, because once you're done suffering for it, you did your time. Just hopefully you'll have some recollection of your last life, and hopefully you'll learn from it. But most people, 99.99% of people don't. Only a few people have said, well, I remember what I was in my last life. I have some memory, but they're only little bits and pieces. And that's life. What life is just bits and pieces. We try to put everything together, right? Try to make sense of things. Reincarnation. I'm not exactly a Buddhist, but this is as close as you're gonna get. This is as close as you're gonna get. The dragon, the swords. I even have a Buddhist thing. I'm kind of a Buddhist, but I'm not. I'm a little bit of. I believe in the reincarnation part, and I do believe you do something bad in this life, you'll suffer for it in the next life. Oh, I'm gonna suffer for it. I did a lot of the things in this life that I'm going to suffer for in the next life. Like, I took stuff without asking when I was younger. That's called stealing. When I was younger, when I became a teenager, I masturbated to porn. And by doing that, I objectified people. I'm gonna suffer for that. I committed gluttony, and I still do, so I'm gonna suffer for that. So, all this, there is some things that I believe in the Bible that are bad, like murdering, stealing, adultery and all that. Yeah, those things I still believe are wrong. I only believe in those rules that are in the Bible. That's the only thing in the Bible I believe. Everything else, like Jesus being the Messiah, that's fake. The water did not turn to wine because how do you do that? It was probably blood. It was probably some kind of chemical they put in there to scare off people. Maybe because, they say in the Bible not to take everything literally. So I'm trying to figure out which part of it do I not take literally. The part where Jesus rose from the dead? The part where the water turned to wine? Was that just a metaphor? What's a metaphor and what's not? It never says specifically what's a metaphor and what's not. So I don't know what to take literally and what not to take literally. It's confusing. It's unspecific, and each Bible is not the same. You got the Catholics and the Presbyterians. They're both Christians, but they both have a different outlook on how they do things. It's stupid, though. It's an unbalanced rule, and I don't think it backs itself up well. And I just think it was just meant. It was just kind of a coordinated, made up rule just to kind of control the chaos, to reduce the chaos, to be more specific. That's what I think the Bible was mostly made up for, just to reduce chaos. And people who are gullible enough to believe it, well, lived by that rule, and it did reduce the chaos, it did help. But for people like me, who are smart enough to see through the bullshit, know that it's just another control scheme, just to reduce chaos. And as long anything that reduces chaos is fine with me, but when you got people who are in your face telling you how you should live your life, it gets annoying. It does. Am I intimidated? Am I intimidated by people who tell me I'm going to go to hell? No, because I don't believe in hell the same way. I believe hell it is already life is hell within itself. And when you get reincarnated, like I said, if you do something bad in this life, you're going to suffer for it in the next life. You'll pay for it. Not for eternity, but you'll pay for it. I guarantee you that. Maybe I shouldn't guarantee you that because I can't have anything to back it up except for some theories as to how it could be possible. But then there are theories to why the Bible could be possible. Nothing is for certain. People have different beliefs. I happen to believe in reincarnation. And the town I live in is full of Christian people. I'm like, well, if I told them I didn't believe in it, I'd probably be making a lot of enemies. I probably wouldn't get. It would just cause a lot of drama and a lot of tension. And that's why I don't bring it up. I have to kind of pretend to be on the same religious path as my mother or my brother. I have to pretend to be that. And when they say, God bless you, Chris, I'm thinking inside, I don't need your blessing. That stuff's not real. Stop giving me your God's blessing because I don't need your blessing. I do not. I don't believe in that. And it's not just the simple fact that I don't want to believe it. I'm not just making myself not want to believe it. I don't believe it. The reason why I don't want to believe it, because I don't believe it. So don't think I just don't want to believe it for the sake of not wanting to believe it. There's a reason why There's theories and reasons as to why I don't believe in Christianity. There's reasons for it. And for anybody who tells me, hey, you just don't want to believe it, that's not that simple. There's a logical explanation. There's some theories. My grandfather, my grandfather, my grandmother, my grandfather had just passed away. My grandmother just recently passed away over 2 months ago. Everybody says she's in a better place now. You know what? I think she is in a better place. But not in heaven. Probably in a better life. The better place would be a better life than the one she was living. Yeah. Everybody says she's up in heaven with God now. No. I had to agree and say yes. I didn't want to push my religious agenda. Said, well, and tell them what I believe. Well, I want to, and then tell them, hey, she's not in heaven, y'all. I believe she was reincarnated into a life better than this one because she did so much good in this life. It's not to say she hasn't done any wrong. She's had done plenty wrong, but her heart was always in the right place. She's always done the right thing. And she was always thinking about her kids and doing for her kids. She was supportive. She raised over 7 children. Yeah, she's going to, in the next life, she's going to have a better life than the one she had now. That's going to be she's in a better place. And of course, being a better life, from what I believe. There is no heaven. There is no hell. Heaven and hell is a place on earth. And the more good you do on earth, the better life you're going to have in the next life. I mean, you could actually be reincarnated in another dimension. So I'm thinking my grandmother was probably reincarnated in a life where she's wealthy, or she might be reincarnated on another planet as an alien who is given superior powers at birth. She probably was born into an advanced civilization, raised by aliens. She's probably reincarnated as an alien. I do believe in other life on other planets existing, even though they haven't found any. It's probably far away in another galaxy. And my grandmother was reincarnated into a superior and more efficient life, where the air is free of deadly gases, where it's only clean energy, unlimited resources. That's the life she's living in right now. The life of an alien. Because Earth, well, or she could be living on Earth, but she could be living as a rich, but I think she went beyond that. My grandmother was a wonderful person. So was my grandfather. Oh, he's not on Earth anymore. See, he's probably been reincarnated on another planet with better treatment, more resources, and the air flows clean with clean energy. There's no pollution. He was reincarnated as an alien on a different planet, a better lifestyle than the one here on Earth. Yeah, you could actually be reincarnated as an alien if you do good. Earth is so full of pollution. There's so much chaos. Do good so that maybe you can get out of this junk hole. You gotta do good in your life so that when you die, in your next life will be better than this one. And you won't have to suffer on this forsaken planet. They call it a God-forsaken planet, but I mean, that's only for the worlds of Christians. And I ain't Christian, so just this forsaken planet. this forsaken body that I have to keep count of calories on because this shit happens if you overeat. This shit happens. And because of the naughty things I did in this life, I'll pay for it in the next life. Yep. I'm going to be a crippled, defenseless person in my next life. Because I used to be a bully. Even though I was mentally challenged, even though I was bullied myself, I was a bully who got bullied. Kind of weird, huh? But yeah, that's how life pretty much works. Your bullies have bullies too. It's true. Mm-hmm. And that's all that's coming from me on this channel. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Peace out.